It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship from Indianapolis, Indiana. It's MotoAmerica Superbikes at the Brickyard. Round number 8 of 9 for 2020 coming at you from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hello everyone and welcome to Liqui Moly Junior Cup. I'm Greg White standing alongside two-time AMA champ Jason Pridmore. Jason, we know Rocco Landers. He's already wrapped up the championship. He wins a lot. So we're going to turn our attention to the battle for second place.
Originally it looked like Dominic Doyle and Sam Lockoff were going to be fighting out that spot, but now there's a third guy. Benjamin Glotty has slowly chipped away.
And for Dominic Doyle, he won the first 3 races of the season, and it looked like he was a title contender against Rocco Landers. He's still in that battle for second place, but then Samuel Lockoff, the South African, gained a heap of points in the mid part of the season and has put on a spectacular show. But this guy, number 72, Ben Glotty, has been our highest point scorer in the last 5 races.
And he's done that with 5 third-place finishes in a row. Good show of form at the end of the year, and he's trying to position himself to be that top 3 in the championship.
Yeah, so for Ben Glotty, here's a look at what he's been accomplishing. The first races, 3 podiums, but this run in the last bit has been really impressive. And Jason, it kind of feels to me that Ben Glotty's got some speed to get up there with Rocco Landers and challenge him for the win today.
Yeah, he's got some momentum right now, and that's what he's looking to do. He's got to get a good start and get rolling and get up there with those leaders right off the bat.
So a great battle for second place. Samuel Lockoff looking to challenge for a race win as well and hold on to that second place in the points.
Today's Junior Cup coverage is sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. And brought to you in part by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
I know that song, Roger Hayden's The Sun will come out tomorrow, but the sun's actually coming up now. It took a little while to get here, but at 2 o'clock, blue skies. The clouds are starting to separate. I think we're getting ready to see some sticky conditions here at IMS.
I believe so, too. Looks like the track condition is going to be perfect, like you said. It was a little cloudy this morning, but now the sun's come out and track temperatures will be warm, and it's going to be interesting to see who can run with Rocco Landers.
I think it's better for some of these younger guys to know they have that confidence also in the bike, right? I mean, with it being a little more grippy.
You definitely, whenever it's a little cold, sometimes you can be a little too slow in the first couple laps, and definitely, you know, your tires don't feel good, or you're concerned that maybe if there's a lot more corners on the left or the right, you know, one side might be cooler than the others. When it's nice and warm like this, you know right away that you can, you know, get going right from the get-go and don't have to worry about, you know, get the tires up to temperature. That's why you see these guys go so fast on the warm-up lap and the sighting lap, because they're trying to get as much heat in the tires as possible.
Saw a couple of DNFs yesterday, Tristan King, David Kolstad, and Brady Forge. Other than that, I mean, we saw a really good race for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. I mean, on from Ben Glotty on down to Liam Grant. Pretty strong run. Dominic Doyle was kind of hanging back just behind Rocco, not by his own, you know, he didn't want to, but still he stayed within 1 second, I think, or maybe 2 seconds at the finish line and kind of kept things honest. And that's what you've got to do. And the longer, the better with Rocco, because who knows if he pushes it a little too hard.
Yeah, when you keep that pressure, when you come around and you see your board plus 0.5 or plus a second, you have to keep charging. You have to keep pushing. So if you can make him, you know, keep trying to pull away from you, then he's going to take more chances.
Okay, we'll have more time to talk here in just a little bit. Going to send him back over to Greg and Jason. The rest of the crew getting ready for Liqui Moly Junior Cup.
Welcome back to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, our second day of race competition and our final Liqui Moly Junior Cup race on deck. Going to be happening here in a few minutes. Now, Jason, when we look at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, with the Liqui Moly Junior Cup bikes, they are less horsepower, smaller displacement, a class that's designed to showcase rider talent.
Yeah, fast corner speeds on these bikes, and with this big, long front straightaway, we have the benefit of a nice draft. So yesterday, from about 3rd back, we had a group of 6, 7 kids that were drafting each other 5 wide sometimes off into turn 1, and that's what this place really gives you here at Indianapolis.
With the corner speed, though, that Rocco Landers is able to carry, the question is he vulnerable anywhere on this racetrack? Here's a look at how Indianapolis Motor Speedway is and what is ahead of these riders. It's got a great series of 16 corners, and that final corner leads onto that long front straightaway. So that leads us into our cargo track hotspots, Jason. Passing opportunities here at IMS.
Yeah, the thing that Rocco does so well is he lets go of the lever. He gets into corners on these little bikes and literally just carries so much speed. Lets go of the lever. Nowhere is it more important than right here in turn 1. Into turn 2, which is probably the hardest and slowest corners, hardest braking and slowest point in there, turns 2 and 3. They go through a little run of S's, then they go down a back chute into turn 10, another place where you can see them fan out, try to go up underneath each other down there into turn 10, and then into a big long right turn 11 that also cuts back on itself. But on these little bikes, Greg, turns 14 through 16, this is key. Even if you're 4 or 5 behind the guys in front of you, you'll be able to get a 4-rider draft down that front straightaway and hopefully beat everybody over those famous bricks.
The Cardo Track hot spots, those places we look for passing. All right, race is imminent. It's coming up. For Dominic Doyle, he's only 2 points behind in second place in the championship.
But then Ben Glotty only 24 points behind Dominic Doyle, and he's been the guy on the move as of late. Again, he talked about those 5 third-place finishes. Is today the day that Ben Glotty can maybe step it up one more notch? Because there was a considerable difference between second and third yesterday.
I think he can. He just has to stay with Dominic, not kind of getting that. He got in that battle, that 5-group battle, and when those guys are changing positions every lap, every corner almost, it slows their pace down and it lets some of the others get away. So he can get off the line with Rocco and Dominic Doyle and just stay on them that first lap and maybe make that break with them. Then I think he can definitely be there for, he's been on the podium before. Now he's looking to move up a spot and get second.
What about the other South African, Samuel Lockoff? I think he's going to have to, start on that third row, but he gets a good jump. I mean, he could put the pressure on. Only finished 4th yesterday, but a lot of that's contributed to not starting up front like we're used to seeing it.
Yeah, for whatever reason this weekend, he's, kind of been struggling a little bit from the past couple races. We've seen him always in the top 3. So this weekend, and when you start in the back, yesterday he got a great start on that first start, and then the red flag came out in the second one. He didn't get such a jump, but if he can get another good start like he did the first one yesterday, he's another guy that can, run with the top 2 guys.
12 race wins in a row out of 15 races for Rocco Landers, trying to make it 13 and really cap off his 2020 season. What do you think the chances are, Raj? Final words before we get to racing.
I think he's going to win. I mean, how can you bet against him? He's been so fast the last couple races. He doesn't make mistakes, and, we'll see.
He's got 12, trying to make it a lucky number 13. Rocco Landers, the defending champion, trying to win here at Indy for the second time this weekend.
Today's Junior Cup race coverage is sponsored by Liqui Moly. Fuel your passion with Germany's #1 oil and additive products.
Back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, waiting the start of the Liqui Moly Junior Cup race. Let's take a look at our starting grid as Rocco Landers put it on pole 1 second ahead of Dominic Doyle.
Yeah, but Dom only finished 2 seconds back yesterday, so let's see if they can make any improvements and get closer. Ben Glotty, they're on row number 1 as well with Burleson, Roca, and Liam Grant. Back to row number 3, Cody Wyman, who fought really hard yesterday. Lockoff there, who finished 4th. Newton. Then we got Jack Roach, Blake Davis, and David Kolstedt rounding out row number 4. On back we go. Lemandry Jr., Aiden Thau, Vanderbrook, King, Knowles, and Ricci round out the field, Greg, as they get ready to go here.
Yeah, and we talked about this championship at the top of the show between Lockoff and Dominic Doyle battling it out for second place. There's 2 championship points. Little wind could play a role in the race outcome. You can see on the front straightaway how wide Indianapolis Motor Speedway is, giving these bikes a lot of opportunity to find different lines.
Oh, yeah, and we're going to see a lot of that down the straightaway. This morning when this field actually went out, it was foggy. You almost couldn't see from corner worker to corner worker station, so it was a bit foggy this morning. A lot different track conditions. As you can see, the sun now is beating down on it here on the front straightaway.
So we're ready for Liqui Moly Junior Cup race number 2. Outstanding overhead shot as we prepare to get to race action. A field of Kawasaki's with the lone Yamaha of Cody Wyman, who put on a great show today. Can anyone outsprint Rocco Landers to turn number 1? It's time to find out. Revs are up. Here we go. Oh, bar banging action between the 24 and the 72. That's not going to help their cause.
Yeah.
How about 91? Isaiah Burleson rolls into second spot.
Yeah, I want to see Isaiah do a better job today. He's up where he wants to be and where he needs to be as Dominic Doyle takes a look down the inside of him. Now Isaiah just needs to get tucked in behind those first two guys, try to go with them the best that he can. Just looking to see who that is, Greg, in fourth right now.
Is that the 24? Yeah, that is the 24 of Roca, who got involved in a little of that bar banging action with Ben Glotty moments ago. But Rocco Landers trying to set sail out front. Dominic Doyle at 25 has got to stay with him. He's got to take a shot on him early, like we see in super sport competition between Sean Dillon Kelly and Richie Escalante. You've got to at least let Rocco know you're there and keep the pressure on him. And that means put your front wheel in front of his.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, these two guys have raced really close to each other at the beginning of the year, and since then it has been the Rocco show. Now, here you go. Dom is doing exactly what you said, Greg. He's going to just try to go right to the inside. He makes that pass stick. As it comes through turn 10, is he going to be able to hold on? He does. Wow. He holds it into turn 11. So Dominic Doyle did exactly what you wanted him to do. Go make a big move right off the bat. And look at Isaiah Burleson hanging right there with these two guys right now.
Taking a page out of Rocco's book, that was all about corner speed. So we have a race leader in the 25 of Dominic Doyle on the Bartcon Racing Kawasaki Ninja 400.
I mean, you're doing that to Rocco Landers. I mean, Rocco is just so good on these small bikes, and you know, this is probably this could be the last time we see him on a small bike, Greg, as they come onto this front straightaway. He gets a good run through that last little section of turns through 14 through 16, and he's going to try to draft up by him again. Let's see if Dom can pull out as they get down into turn 1. He pulls out to the left. Is it going to be enough?
Dominic Doyle, is there room for both of them? That was pretty close. Jason, what I liked about that last shot, when we were tight in there, you could see the effect of the draft, the buffeting that was on the windscreen. Another pass for the lead as Dominic Doyle getting after Rocco Landers. This is what we said has to happen.
And we said this is going to be great for Dom. I think it's great for Rocco. Rocco needs people to race with as he advances and matures again as a rider. And we say that about a lot of our guys in our series right now. He's going to be getting against guys that aren't going to be given a quarter or taking one. So it's good that Rocco gets somebody to battle with as he looks to go up the inside of Dom. Not quite close enough, though. Dom slams the door shut as they go through these S's.
So Rocco Landers, Norton Motorsports, Ninja 400R, Dr. Farr, Wonder CBD sponsored machine, holding on to second spot. All the while, we haven't really talked a lot about Isaiah Burleson because it's been a little accordion. Look at Rocco using the draft and pass in the infield straightaway, and he'll take over the spot.
And by the way, here comes Sam Lockoff as well. There you see the red, the bike just behind in fourth place. It's important for him to get up there with these two leaders because he's still battling Dominic Doyle for second in the championship. There's a good look at Sam. So he's come from that third row and has been able to get himself up there. He's going to try to get into the back of Isaiah Burleson. Burleson's doing a tremendous job right now, keeping his eyes focused forward. He hasn't had anybody drafting up and around him right now. He's been able to keep an eye on these two out in front of him. Really good.
So Dominic Doyle trying to get a drive on Rocco on the straightaway. He'll get that draft. The question becomes, can he make any ground on Rocco Landers? It seems that Dominic Doyle gets a little bit ahead of steam late in the straightaway. Is he going to be able to pull out? There goes Doyle. He's looking for some room. He doesn't make it known to Rocco that he wants the spot. But what about turn 2? An opportunity if Rocco leaves the door open? Nah, Doyle's a little too far back.
And not only that, Rocco's very savvy. He's going to learn from every pass that somebody makes on him. And this is where if he can go out there and do the laps that he wants to do. And look at this battle right here, Greg.
Oh, wow.
Look at this battle right here. Glotty's back here in this battle. And this is not where he wanted to be. Jack Roach doing a really nice job. I saw him draft all the way up and through these guys, did the number 12. So he's up in the group that he was trying to chase yesterday and get up there with him. these two guys are still battling up at the front. 151 flat to a 151.1 for these two on the last time by. 51.3 for Burleson and 51.6 for Lockoff. So Burleson even has a little bit more pace than the guy right now in third. And here we go. Back to that battle for sixth between, looks like Roach and Glotty. Liam Grant is in there. So they're all trying to chase Roca for that top 5 spot.
Maximiliano Roca out of Argentina on the Tango Racing Kawasaki, doing a great job. So Rocco Landers getting hounded by Dominic Doyle. Jay, left part of your screen, a couple passes.
Dom just opens up the exit of turn number 1 and dives straight to the apex of turn 2. So Rocco's going to be wary of that. And then Rocco ends up coming right back on him as they drove out of turn number 9 on that drive down the straightaway. Rocco gets up underneath him as they go down into turn 10. This was a turn that we saw Dominic pass him on the first lap, just at the beginning of the race.
Interesting, Jason, on the right part of your screen now, full screen, was the run onto the front straightaway, and Dominic Doyle lost the front but was able to hold on to it. He was flying through that corner. He's out of the draft early. They come across the yard of bricks, and Dominic Doyle gets credited with the fastest lap of the race, but there's not enough steam in his Ninja 400 to get around Rocco, but a 150.821. Rocco did a 150.844, so that's going to be a new race lap record for Liqui Moly Junior Cups around Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And Jason, with 8 laps to go, we expect it to drop again.
Jack Roach has got himself to the front of that group. Now, these are guys that when you watch this could be our next contenders for next year. And we can see they ran down Roca, who was in 5th just now. We've got Liam Grant there, like I said. Cody Wyman, Joe Lamandry Jr.'s in that back of that group.
Oh, 3 wide, where are you going? I mean, this is a wide racetrack, but eventually you've got to find an apex and get around the corner. This is that battle for 5th spot. 94 is Liam Grant. He's been up and down in this group as they continue to sort themselves out. But Jay, when we see big packs like this, with the straightaways that we see here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that's when we can keep things nice and tidy. So Lockoff around Isaiah Burleson, those two still trying to fight it out for 3rd spot. So for Sam Lockoff, we know he's in that battle. He was 2 points ahead of Dominic Doyle heading into this race. With Dominic out front, the difference between 2nd and 3rd is 4 points, and we'd see those two flip in that points championship.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Sam to try to put the lap together on his own without having any kind of help of drafting down the straightaway. It's going to be difficult for him to close that gap, so we'll keep an eye. He's got 2 of his fastest sectors on this lap for Lockoff, so his lap time is going to be good. The problem is the guys in front of him have shown up red on our screen on a couple of sectors, which means they've gone even quicker. So we'll look at these lap times as they come across. Now a new lap record, actually 50.7 for Rocco Landers as he comes across the line there. Lockoff is at 51.5, so about 0.8 of a second between the race leader and the battle for 3rd.
And Lockoff said he has that 2nd place and championship points in mind. He knows how valuable the points are. He knew the value of getting a good start, starting from the 8th position on the grid. I asked him any changes for the bike. He said big changes from yesterday. They shortened the wheelbase, made the suspension softer. They lowered the bike, changed the handlebar position, and he noticed it made a tremendous difference in warm-up. So it looks like those changes are paying off. Yesterday they had some transmission issues, some false neutral issues, and so far this race that doesn't seem to be a factor.
So wholesale changes to Samuel Lockoff as he continues to fight for 2nd as this battle for 5th continues to rage on. Battle for 5th place between Jack Roach, Roca, Glotty, Wyman, Liam Grant, a whole host of riders.
Something weird happened here for that gap to come, because Roca must have barged his way through. He came across the line in 6th, but there's a big gap. Look at all of these guys fanning out, and look at Cody Wyman. Goes by both Liam Grant and Jack Roach as they go down into turn 10. We saw Cody fighting yesterday as hard as he could. We made comment, only rider out there on a Yamaha R3 riding for that Westby team. So he's going to keep working his way, but Roca came across the line that last time in 6th. Now he's actually got a little bit of a gap to these guys, or did. Cody's starting to run that gap down a little.
Boy, that R3 turns so incredibly well. And even with the engine displacement disparity, a little bit different in terms of how much engine displacement there is. Wyman showed some speed on the straightaway. So Wyman, number 34, Westby Racing, deep in the tuck, Hannah.
talking to Cody, because his performance was so strong, he felt so confident with the bike settings. They're running the same settings as yesterday. They're running a very tall geometry to try and stay out of 6th gear, and it's making a difference for him. His same strategy as yesterday as well, just not to fall too far back and hopefully try and draft to the line that last lap.
So he's using really 5th gear and trying to tap it out into 5th gear. That makes a lot of sense. Jostling and riders all over the place, and Wyman had it for a second up into 5th spot, and they just keep shuffling each other around. So Cody Wyman, Westby Racing Yamaha, doing a great job in this battle. A note out front, Dominic Doyle keeping things interesting.
Dave Colt.
Sorry, Jay, 150.686 for Dominic Doyle, setting the fastest lap of the race and lap record again.
Yeah, this is just a mess right here. I love watching this stuff, and all these guys racing really hard. Dave Kolstad is the 6th rider in your screen there. He's the last member of this big group back to the front, and Dom's just doing everything he can right now to not let Rocco get away. And it's 3.6 seconds back now to Lockoff and Burleson, still battling for that final podium position. But you can see, Greg, the lap times that these guys are able to do, how quickly that gap has opened up in the last 2 laps between 2nd and 3rd.
And Rocco Landers has just set the first fastest split of the race and sector number 2. So he's trying to pull the pin. He's trying to get away from Dominic Doyle. The last time they came by the stripe, it was 1/10 of a second. Now, if Dominic Doyle can make up any ground on Rocco Landers in the draft, that might be dropped. Let's see as he comes across the line. Information for Rocco in terms of lap times. And Rocco goes 150.4 and betters his time from yesterday in terms of race lap record by 0.4 of a second. The answer was Dominic Doyle going to 150.5. Yeah, unbelievable the times they're able to pull off with a 400cc machine.
And really, these two have raced against each other for so much, and they do respect each other a lot on the track. You don't see you don't ever see any of that from Rocco anyways, really, any kind of franticness. Very, very polished rider. And again, we've got red and green in our first 2 splits, so these two just continue to push the pace. We'll make a note that Isaiah Burleson has taken back 3rd place from Lockoff as they came across the line that last time by. Isaiah led that way into that podium charge.
Yeah, and that's the battle Jason's talking about for 3rd place. So many fights going on all over Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Liqui Moly Junior Cup race number 2. With about 4.5 laps to go for these 2 riders, they're fighting it out for the number 1 position. You can see that battle for 3rd off in the distance. It looks like Burleson started to eke away a little bit from Lockoff, at least in that corner. So these riders, last time by, just broke the track record again. And through the first sector, Rocco Landers set the fastest sector time once again.
Yeah, and Dominic did the same exact thing. He ran his own personal best, just a 10th off of Rocco. And here goes that battle for 3rd again. Not sure, just looking at the times, nothing really that's shocking there. 52.9 for Lockoff the last time by. It looked like a little bit there that Burleson got out a bit wide in turn 13 and getting onto this run onto the front straightaway. Let's see if Sam can get off this last corner well enough to draft back past Burleson as they come down the front straightaway.
So on the front straightaway, Dominic Doyle in the draft of Rocco Landers. He pulls out into turn number 1. He's going for it. He wants to take over the lead. So Dominic Doyle has that lead for the moment. But Rocco is going to try him up the inside. Aggressive move there, side by side. Is Rocco going to have position? Wow, he nearly runs into Dominic Doyle's knee. So Doyle has it. He will take over the spot, and now he is going to try to set sail. But we know Rocco Landers has a lot in reserve. This is exactly the race that Rocco wanted to see. He knows he needs it. He knows that it's entertaining, and it's entertaining for him as well. So Dominic Doyle out front after a good draft and pass move and tremendous amounts of corner speed into turn number 1. We have less than 4 laps to go. Rocco Landers now going to work on Dominic Doyle to see where he's strong. Landers doesn't like to follow for very long, though, Jay.
Well, you say that, and if you remember at the beginning of the year, we saw him follow Dom an awful lot, and I think that what ends up happening is these two guys go back and forth with each other a lot, and then Rocco finally goes, okay, I'm not just breaking away here. I'm going to start strategizing. I got 4 laps to go. I'm going to make an idea or a plan of where I might want to try to make this pass and make it stick coming to the line, because they've gone back and forth a few times. And I think the real tell will be when they come on the front straightaway this time. If Rocco Landers chooses to draft and then not pass, we'll be able to see if he's just making a plan to kind of follow Dom until the last lap to make his move. But it looks like he's tucked into the draft real early, Greg. He's probably going to go by on the left side, but we'll just keep an eye on it.
Yeah, Rocco seems to get tremendous drives onto the front straightaway, almost playing with Dominic Doyle. So there we go, lead change again, and Rocco Landers will be credited with that lap led, but Doyle's fighting right back. What a move. Yep. Great job by Dominic Doyle.
And that's the neat thing about this big long straightaway on small bikes. You can see a draft and a redraft back before they even get down into turn number 1.
Good job by Dominic Doyle. Keep in mind, these 2 riders, they fought it out at MotoAmerica race number 1 and 2, and then MotoAmerica 2 race number 1. And the margin of victory for those 3 races was ridiculous. It was under 0.2 of a second combined for 3 races, where Dominic Doyle ended up winning those things. And then Rocco Landers has gone on a tear, Jason. 12 race wins in a row for Rocco Landers. Could Dominic Doyle finally put a stop to the win streak?
He's definitely trying, and this is the closest Dom's been. We saw Dom just make kind of a little series of mistakes. Kind of, when you get the taste of winning, you want to win all the time. And he made some mistakes at Pittsburgh and a couple of the rounds after that, and he's kind of got himself back into it. But it's really going to help his cause to try to nail down that second place in the championship against this guy, Sam Lockoff, who now is still trying to get on the back of Burleson. This is the best we've seen out of Isaiah right now, and this is what I'm liking. He looks a lot more focused today. Haven't seen him looking around. No gestures, just going about his business, riding like we know he can ride.
So Isaiah Burleson putting in a great performance today. Is that close to a podium finish with 2.5 laps to go in this one? Isaiah Burleson. Yeah, sorry.
Watch Rocco as he goes through this right-left. He shortens him up. See how he's just to the left?
Like more direct?
Yeah, he direct lines that, and he still is able to get the drive. These bikes don't have enough horsepower where it should really push them over those white lines that everybody's talking about, as far as we don't want to see riders go outside the second line. And Rocco just really uses that bike the best he can. His straight lines that last little part, uses up less track, but on his exit, he's actually got a little bit more track by entering that left a little bit early. Dom Doyle is going to lead back into turn 1 again. That was kind of a test run, I think, for Rocco to see about if he could draft at the line. Now Sam Lockoff pulls up alongside Burleson as they come down the front straightaway.
He had it for a moment across the start-finish line. Lockoff is credited with 3rd place, but obviously we can see that Burleson fights right back and goes right back to that final spot on the podium. Jay, going back to Landers and Doyle, I thought that was an interesting move by Rocco Landers to roll out of the throttle and give that position to Dominic Doyle. What do you think that was all about?
It kind of goes back to what I said a couple laps ago. Rocco's a pretty heady guy, and he doesn't get worried about things. He comes up with a plan, and generally his plan works out pretty well. So the thing is that Rocco's made an idea of what he probably wants out of this, but with 1.5 laps to go, he's already kind of probably made a plan. He's seen where he's maybe a little quicker or places that he could be better. Let's see, he's pulls out to the left here, Dom. So he might go, he's going to go back up underneath him as they go into 10. Let's see if he sits up. Yep, he sits up a little early. Doesn't really look like he's in a hurry to go by Dom right now.
I think he's playing a little head games with Dominic Doyle.
I don't know if it's head games.
Cat and mouse-ish.
As opposed to he knows where he wants to be. He knows where he wants to be leading into the last lap, and I believe it was yesterday during one of our telecasts, you said you might not want to lead onto this front straightaway, I believe, and that is very true, especially on these small bikes.
Boy, it's reminiscent of what we saw at MotoAmerica at the beginning of the season, where Rocco Landers was getting beat and thought he had the perfect plan, and it didn't quite get executed. So it'll be interesting to see if Rocco Landers' plan is just to do this on the final lap. As we're heading to take the white flag, this will do it for Rocco Landers and Dominic Doyle. The final lap of competition in Liqui Moly Junior Cup. When they get to the stripe, it was Dominic Doyle credited by 0.004 of a second. So in that particular run, it didn't pay off for Rocco, but we don't know exactly where his throttle position was at the time. As for Sam Lockoff, he's able to get around Isaiah Burleson. That's 2 laps in a row for Sam Lockoff. And now Lockoff's able to hold on to 3rd position. So this race up front, it's coming down to this. Less than 2.5 miles to race on this 16-turn road course at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And Dom knows. Dom's sitting there and he's thinking to himself, okay, he's shown me a wheel a couple times. You know, when we get to those famous bricks on the front straightaway, he's shown me a wheel going into turn 10 and he chose not to pass me. So Dom knows what's going on right now, and he's going to have to do something, you know, heady to be able to keep Rocco behind him. If Rocco doesn't really go by him here down this straightaway, it really tells me he's just there to follow all the way to the time they get onto the front straightaway. And you can see Domin's going in there a little bit tighter. Rocco's just going to let him do that, follow him through all this next sections.
So Dominic Doyle has done a lot of work leading this race. We both, I think, have this feeling that Rocco Landers has just got his plan and he's just waiting for it to unfold. And Dominic Doyle has got to be thinking about it. They've raced together before where Dom's come out on top plenty of times this season. A little bit of a gap there.
Yeah, but see, Rocco knows where he's good, and he's good in those last 3 turns. He's really good from this next left into the right, left onto the front straightaway. So he knows that coming in here, and he's just going to be able to get out of this turn as good as he can, and he'll be able to draft him at the line.
Rocco with a little bit of wheel spin. He's out of the draft early. Is it going to be too early? Is Dominic Doyle going to be able to redraft? Here they come. Long drag down to the start-finish line, and now Rocco Landers will take another victory, his 13th in a row. Masterful performance by the 15-year-old and your 2-time national champ, Sam Lockoff, to the stripe, and he will take the checkered flag and take 3rd position. So the damage in the championship between those two, minimal. And how about this gaggle of riders coming to the line? Who's going to have it? David Kolstad on the 29 over
David.
Jack Roach. Cody Wyman 7th. Roca in 8th. Liam Grant, Lemandry Jr., Newton in 11th. Glotty in 12th. Boy, we didn't see that one coming. Ben Glotty, who we thought would be a lot closer to the front, finishes in 12th. Aiden Tao in 13th spot. And Blake Davis rounding out your top 14. So riders congratulating each other on a race well done. As for Rocco Landers, if you're a young racer, you just had a lesson on how you win a race. It's not always about opening up the throttle as hard and fast as you can. So Rocco Landers, his 13th win of the season, his 13th win in a row. When we return to the Brickyard, we're going to find out how Rocco Landers was able to win this race.
I'll tell you, Greg, how he won that race. He had a little something under that hood, as you would say, Roger Hayden.
Definitely had a lot of speed up that front straightaway, and not only when he drafted by him, but pulled away a little bit as well. So we seen at the first round he was having a little bit of trouble drafting by Dominic Doyle, and today it didn't look like he had any problem at all.
He was strong in that last those last few corners. Actually, he was a little too quick and had to pull out really, really early, but he just kept going. Where I thought it might have actually went against him. I thought he pulled out, got in front. I thought, Dominic was going to be able to redraft him, but he didn't. He just kept pulling away.
We thought that because at Road America, that's what we seen, but today he gets such a good run out of that last, that chicane. He gets in the first part, turn 15 so quick. He carries his momentum. You can just see how much faster he starts that straightaway than Dominic Doyle, and he just kept that momentum going. And, what a race by Dominic Doyle, though, to sit there and battle with Rocco the whole race and, was right there for the win, passing Rocco when he had the chance and also setting the pace when he's out front. But, even when Rocco was behind, it kind of looked like you could kind of tell that he looked like he had a little bit more pace than Rocco did. So what a race, though. I was glad to see a battle finally, and also a battle for with Samuel Lockoff. Looks like he had another pretty good race, which we kind of expected if he got off to a good start, and he did.
And tying his best ever finish is Isaiah Burleson. Strong run by him. I mean, his dad, Corey, mom, Mary. That ties his best finish. He had a 1/4 last year as well. But he was in it the entire time. Actually ahead of Lockoff, I believe, with only about 2 laps to go. He would finish 4/10 behind Lockoff. But now the points have shifted. Rocco's going to win the championship. But now Dominic Doyle, I think, takes back over second. He's going to have a 2-point advantage going into Laguna over Sam Lockoff.
And the interesting thing about that, too, is Rocco might not be at Laguna. He's not supposed to be because he's going to be at Aragon. So it's going to be a totally different points battle you know, whenever you're going from first to second, is 5 points. It's a lot bigger than these other positions when they can be just 2 points or 1 point.
Right, battling for those wins. And that's probably the difference, too, taking those first 3 victories with Dominic Doyle. You know, they got max points, 25 of those first 3 races. How about it for David Kolstad at DNS yesterday on the DMK race in Kawasaki? And we saw that gaggle. It looked like a hornet's nest, and finishing 5th there on the 29.
Yeah, 5th through 10th. I mean, you could throw a blanket over them, and good for him. Come back after the crash yesterday and, you know, not getting the finish to come here and have a good race today. And come out on top of that battle of those 5 guys. It's just, it has to feel good whenever there's such a big difference between saying I'm top 5 and I'm top 10. And all it would have taken was just a little bit, you know, a little bit further back, and he would have been 10th.
Cody Wyman, 7th place after the 5th place yesterday. Strong run by the Westby Yamaha. Looking through the field, the last points paying position, Tristan King just behind Blake Davis, taking 15th place. Rocco Landers, for the final time, walks up to that victory podium as he's got to reevaluate, you know, what the rest of his year is going to be like. And he heads over to Europe. Aragon's coming up very soon, and the Red Bull Rookies, a track that he's been at. I would love to see him running up front. It's a tall ask on an unfamiliar bike when all those little Italian and Spanish riders are used to riding that bike, and he's basically had just a couple of races on it, but at least he knows the track, Raj. Yep,
it's going to be huge knowing the track. He doesn't have to go there and learn the track, which is really difficult. When all these kids know these tracks so well, trying to come over there, not only learn the bike, but learn a new track. So, and you can just tell how much better Rocco's got since he went over there and did a couple of those races the middle of the season. He's come back and he's been a different rider. So hopefully, you know, he can just keep this momentum going and go over there and have a good weekend.
Maybe this race will help his racecraft as well, because this was one of those drafting type of races. That's something you see a lot over there in those small bike classes. You better learn how to get in that tuck and work with it.
Every one of their races is like that.
Everyone. Every single one of them. All right, they're downloading up there on the victory podium, getting that hand sanitizer, wiping it off. They're going to throw on their mask, get ready to go, and we're going to have the final podium here in Indy for the Liqui Moly Juniors. Rocco Landers, Dominic Doyle, and Sam Lockoff, your top 3. Back to the boys upstairs.
Today's Junior Cup race coverage has been sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Rocco Landers, draft and pass for the victory by 1/10 of a second over Dominic Doyle. I'm sure Dominic's fuming a little bit. Sam Lockoff able to minimize the damage done in terms of Dominic Doyle's great production, but Hannah's down in victory lane right now, getting ready to talk to Rocco Landers.
13 in a row for Rocco Landers. It has been an incredible season for our 2020 champion. Rocco, following Dom those last few laps, where were you looking to overtake for the win?
Yeah, I saw that throughout the whole race. When I was leading, I was doing very fast lap times, and I saw that Dom I wasn't going to drop him because I knew he was running an awesome race. But he passed me with like 3 to go, and I was just like, well, I mean, I might as well not waste any energy and try to just draft him to the line, because I know Jesse Norton built me a super fast, awesome bike, and can't thank him enough with my whole NinjaForNJ.com, Norton Motorsports, Dr. Farr, Wonder CBD team for keep putting the team program underneath me every single weekend. It's been awesome. I'm super happy for Dom to be up there again with me this weekend, and nice job to Sam for another podium. So honestly, it's pretty awesome. I couldn't have done it without HJC, Mythos, Blood Lubricants, Barnett Clutches and Cables, Wonder CBD, NinjaForNJ.com, Norton Motorsports, Dr. Farr, and everyone else who supports me.
Congratulations, Rocco Landers.
All right, Jay, like I mentioned for Rocco Landers, 13 wins on the season, and they've all been in a row. A dominant performance for him. Got that #1 plate back already, but he's done in Junior Cup. He raced himself out of it. As for Dominic Doyle, he put on a heck of a fight. Let's get to Hannah with Dom.
Second place today for Dominic Doyle. Dom, you took the lead with 4 laps to go. What was your plan to try to ride defensively to keep Rocco behind you?
Yeah, so the plan was just to try and go with him again like yesterday and try and not let him get away. So I was in the tow from the first lap and just wanted to see if I could make any moves from there. And there are some openings where I could get him on the brake, so kind of just took it and went for it. After that, I was just trying to ride my own race because I tried to get behind him for the draft a couple times on the straightaway and I couldn't get by, but I knew coming out of the last turn if he had my draft, he was going to come by me, so I didn't really know what to do. It was kind of a win-win situation. I'm still on the box. I'm happy with that. I can't thank my whole Bartcon team enough and all my sponsors, Coastal Neurosurgery and Spinal, Arai Helmets, Bison Leathers, Forma Boots, K-Tech, and Orient Express.
Congratulations, Dominic Doyle on a second place finish. Guys.
That's his third second place finish in a row, his 12th podium appearance of the season. And Dominic Doyle is going to be looking forward to the next race at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca because he's starting to figure some things out again at this part of the season. As for our third place finisher, he put on a great run as well. He's with Hannah.
Samuel Lockoff back up on the box after yesterday. Sam, you were trading passes with Isaiah Burleson all race long. What was it that gave you the advantage over him today?
Yeah, I just want to start off by thanking my team. They put a really good bike together. Starting 8th wasn't really the greatest, but I mean, it's not the worst, I guess. But yeah, I just want to congratulate Isaiah and Dom for second in the championship. I think what gave me the edge on the line was just the bike. Honestly, I think my bike had a little advantage over Isaiah's, and he rode a really good race, and I just want to wish him luck and wish everyone luck for the last race of the season.
Congratulations, Samuel Lockoff.
All right, Jay had his hands full with Isaiah Burleson, so looking at Sam Lockoff, a good performance from him, and also, though, the fact that Isaiah Burleson was able to run with Lockoff. But, yeah, you got to get that qualifying position a little bit better. So let's take a look at our championship standings here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Done and dusted now, as we only have 2 races, 1 round left in the season. Obviously, Rocco Lander's already wrapped up that number 1 plate, so you see Sam Lockoff now 2 points behind Dominic Doyle. It was just the opposite heading into today's race. Unfortunately for Ben Glotty, he lost a little bit in that fight with his finish back in 12th. All right, that'll do it for us from Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Liqui Moly Junior Cup. For Hannah Lopa and Jason Pridmore, I'm Greg White. Thanks so much for joining us. We will see you October 24th from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, for another one.